Okay, everybody, welcome to 2016's Formula One calendar. We're going to be bringing you race updates, hopefully every week from now on, or every other week, depending on when the races are. We've this is the second one. This is the Bahrain 2016 that we're going to be talking about mainly today, but it'll be all aspects of Formula One. So I'd just like to welcome Fabio.
Hey, what the fuck is that?
Thank you, Fabio. Welcome. And please, if you'd like to start talking about Bahrain and what a fantastic race we had there.
Yes. Okay. Well, the first thing is that we will probably have Jim. We don't know what happened, but he's a busy guy. But if he managed to join in, he can join in anytime. So you want me to talk about the race? Okay, I can talk about the race. I can tell you fuck, fuckty, fuck. Because this is what is said, before the race even started. Jesus Christ, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with that, but man, that Vettel, breaking down in the warm-up lap was
before the race started. Well, it's been what is it? It's been. I mean, I can't remember the last time.
I can. Haha, I got you there because I can.
No, you haven't actually, because I do remember really.
I can. I think it was, and actually, okay. If you want to see the good side of it, last time it happened was with Michael Schumacher. I think in '96 or
96.
Stuff like that.
Canada.
Yeah, he broke down in the warm-up lap. That was his first year in Ferrari, and I mean he had a pretty good career in Ferrari. So I mean this is the only good thing I can think about that stuff, But still, fuck was just I don't know.
I see.
I don't know. Well, I think there was some really interesting things, in the race. The first thing is that is Hamilton is terrific at qualifying, but still he has no idea how to start that fucking car.
Do you think he knows where? You think he knows where the keys go?
I don't know. I don't know exactly what the problem is, and so we had
I heard he crashed his Zonda, so perhaps he he doesn't. Perhaps he can't drive cars that don't have keys.
I don't know. That might be something. Yeah, that might be something. Okay, but but before we go on, let me say one thing about that, because in my opinion, that's only my opinion. I mean, Bottas was at fault. No, I mean no doubt about that. But I think that Hamilton. Okay, I don't want to see has got some responsibilities, but it is a fact that I think I watched the replays and also the other race. I think that the difference between him and Rosberg and the other drivers is that he has really low revs when he's starting. So because and also they showed the way he started. It is not that he spinned the tires. He just had problems. I don't know. I mean, moving the car. The other thing is that, and again, Bottas was at fault, no question about that. But I think that Hamilton was a little bit, probably too bit overconfident. He left too much space for Bottas, and he just, and Bottas just piled in like a moron. But
like a rookie, yeah. I'm not. I wouldn't blame Bottas there. I mean, if you think what Raikkonen did to him last year, that was much worse. So I can't really blame Bottas for this. I think Hamilton should have been less worried about trying to get a good run on Rosberg in the second corner, and should have been looking after covering off the inside of the first corner.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I still blame Bottas. I think that it was appalling what he did, and also the fact that I don't know. I honestly don't know what the hell is wrong with that car, with the Williams. I mean, even Massa made a really gray race, and I mean, I'm wondering if they have problems with soft tires. Massa put white ones, and also we knew that Williams, they didn't even brought enough yellow tires for the race. So I don't know if they got problems with soft tires, and they need a little bit, another compound to make it last a little bit more. I don't know if they got problems with eating the tires, but there is something wrong with that car right now.
Yeah, I mean, traditionally Williams have normally gone for as much mechanical grip as possible, right? So basically it means that their tires heat up quick and wear out quick, and that was generally their philosophy, it seems. So
yeah.
Whether they're still carrying that on and thinking, right, we're going to run hard tires, and they've got caught out again because this year with the 3 compounds, perhaps the cars that are a little more frugal, heating the tires up, are probably going to be the better tires to be using. That's why I think Ferrari have got the advantage early season. I think it's these early races that they need to be capitalising on, putting Mercedes under much more pressure. I think if Vettel hadn't have crashed out, then it would have been a different race. I think he might have got in front of Rosberg in the second stint.
Yeah. I mean, Ferrari. We talked about that, last Hangout with Jim. Ferrari changed the front suspension radically. Now I think it's a push rod, or it's a pull rod. I can't even remember, which one, but it's the other one. So they changed the front end dramatically. They had problems last year in actually eating up the front tires. And this year it seems to be it's a little bit better. It is not that better. I mean, it's way better. It's not still top notch, but it's a little bit better. And but I think that Williams, which I can't remember what kind of of front suspension scheme geometry they have. Might be the old one that Ferrari had, but still it seems to be they got problems. And talking about the front suspension of Ferrari, there is a very interesting thing. Well, first of all, let me say that Raikkonen did a fantastic race, and again, that's something that I talked last hangout with Jim. I told him that Raikkonen is still someone that, in my opinion, that was before the race. So, well, he is the good, teammate for Vettel now, because he is one that if he has to deliver, he delivers. And last race, he delivered. I mean, it was fantastic. And I think one of the reasons why he was so effective and actually it showed the people, what kind of driver he is that, funnily enough, this year car seems to be way more suited for Raikkonen. I'm not saying that it's not suited for Vettel, but but Raikkonen has always liked really pointy cars, with no big understeer. He did well with Lotus. He did well, with the previous Ferrari before. He have always liked really pointy cars, and this car is not as pointed as they would like to be, but it's not as sluggish in the front as it was last year. So it suits him, the way he drives better. So, and I was really happy to see that guy actually, making a good race.
Yeah, it seems to me, when you want to drive fast, having an oversteer car is a good thing, right? But when you want to conserve tyres and do long distance stints like Damon Hill used to drive, then of course you want a much more neutral car. So I've always favoured the Hamilton and Schumacher, people that can drive on the nose, and Hakkinen, Raikkonen. But they look much more spectacular, of course, but they're not it's not the way to run a long race, is it?
Well, it takes way more. It takes a lot of guts. And now there is a really bad angle. I mean, bad one. Yeah, that was incredible. But it takes way more guts because, you know, I know the steering car, it's a car which forgives you way more than on the steering car. So you got to be uh, really more precise. I mean, if you lose the front, it's like in motorcycle. I mean, if you lose the front, you're pretty much fucked up, you know. But if you have a loose car on the rear, you can still, you know, manage to do things one way or the other. So it's really tricky. But if you manage to drive with a pointy car, which eventually will, you know, will lose the grip on the front, and, you know, and tell you to basically to fuck off and die on side of the road, it's way more effective, but it is really way more technical. So yeah.
Right. So back to the race then. You know, I thought. You see, when I first saw the start, I thought Rosberg and Hamilton, if anything, Hamilton got off the line better. So it's that second phase again, right? And both of the Williams really hooked that up. So do we think that's significant? Do we think Williams are going to really bring themselves into play by just increasing the top speed of their car because they've got such a fast start? Much the way Flavio's team did, the Benetton team. Remember, they always used to have a fast car when Fisichella was driving, really fast starting.
Yeah.
And Ferrari benefited from that a couple of years as well. But is that significant this year, do you think?
Well, yeah, I think that, you know, that the fact that, you know, they couldn't do that, you know, they really put them on the spot. I think that Hamilton specifically was having, I mean, I won't say problems, but, you know, he had to commit himself, you know, way more than we saw last year. You know, he tried at the around the lap 29, he tried an undercut and he put a red tire, and you know, Raikkonen, you know, went in, put a red tire too, and Rosberg, you know, 2 laps later put a red tire. So everybody was basically reacting to each other, and with that kind of reaction last year, we saw that, you know, even if, you know, people were trying to do different things, at the end of the day, I mean, you know, Mercedes, you know, managed to you know, throttle ahead and nobody will be able to catch them. But this didn't happen this time. I mean, Hamilton really tried his best, and but he I mean, it didn't make it. I mean, well, it got third. I mean, it's not bad, but still, you know, it was in this position. So I'm glad that they're struggling. You know, let me put it this way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Hamilton fan, and you know, if anything, this is going to make the mid-season just that much more interesting. Certainly, when I get back to Europe, Hamilton's going to be on fire by then.
Yeah,
because there's no way he'll put up with the car coming in second and third all the time. What I'm kind of excited about this year is the fact that we've got 3 choices of tyre.
Yes.
Right. Race. Yeah. Now that always before, when you had a large gap in the 2 tyres, you got exciting racing.
Yes.
So that's basically what we're going to get, except for the fact we've now got this middle option that you can choose. Right. So for me, the races are always just going to be, or the temptation for the teams to spoil races is going to be much greater.
No, you're right. Yeah.
So that's a big worry for me, because we don't go through many races now without yellow flags at some point. And maybe even a safety car is quite normal now in F1 races because of, you know, they're so mad, and they're so, no, not mad, but they're so, you know, keen on getting the safety right. Obviously, Jules Bianchi last year, etc. They've got a lot to worry about. but it does mean that this what could have been a really interesting battle all year between the tyre choices and strategy is going to be taken out to some degree, simply because we're going to have safety cars, and that means everybody's going to reset tyres. Yeah. Plus, I think what was in the first race, didn't they all come in and they were all allowed to change tyres?
No, they actually changed tires, and that was, you know, the mishap of the first race. This is where Ferrari tried. I think they tried to go with the yellow tires in order to have a little bit more performances, and Williams went with Mercedes went with white tires, which was quite astonishing because, you know, in the first race they almost never didn't even try the white tires. So that was, you know, one thing, but it eventually, you know, it went good for them. But, you know, the difference with this race was that I saw Mercedes really trying, and I mean trying really hard. At the 1440 laps out of 57, when Rosberg got in with yellow tires, Raikkonen almost got him. You know, I mean, it was that close. I mean, they were 4.7 seconds apart, so it wasn't that bad. I mean, if you remember, you know, in the first race, they just when Ferrari had, you know, that problem with Vettel, it seems to be that they lost 3 seconds. And we talked about, you know, last Hangout, and said, well, you know, there was some calculation that Vettel lost 3 seconds, and if you think about it, I mean, if he managed to get those 3 seconds, he might have got, you know, Hamilton way sooner. So if you make even a small mistake when they're so close, it's going to be really interesting. And this is where, you know, the funny things happen, you know, because you got a lot of pressure, and eventually you will make a mistake. I mean, I'm positive everybody will make a mistake, you know, sooner or later.
Yeah, and I completely agree as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, especially this new compounded tyres, new construction, I should say, of tyres.
Yeah.
It's highly likely that people are going to fall off the cliff that much sooner. But I also think, you know, I think Vettel would have driven a stronger race than Raikkonen. I really do. I didn't see Raikkonen's performance as spectacular because he didn't manage to close. He wasn't closing on Rosberg. Right.
Yeah.
And that was a bit of a surprise for me. That seemed to say, oh, it's business as usual, right? When Mercedes want to put the gun down, they can still. You know. So.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know about that.
We won't know until Vettel gets in an even race with Rosberg, right?
Yeah. There is also the fact, I think, that okay, let's. Around the 44th laps of 57, Raikkonen was less than 5 seconds from Rosberg, about 4.5 seconds, and he tried a little bit. There was a lot of traffic, which you probably saw from the pit. We must not forget the fact that I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think that Raikkonen was racing the engine that he broke the previous weekend.
Right.
So it might be, but this is a very long shot for me. It might be that, you know, from the pit, from the box, they saw that it would have been problematic trying to get Rosberg.
Yeah.
And you know, some reliability issues might have played into that, you know, because I think that he broke the turbine, you know, in the last race, and they said that, you know, that all the engine and all the components were okay, but still, I mean, you don't want to really risk too much. And if you get in that position, you try a couple of laps, but if you see that you're not gaining, or if you see that there might be problems, you know, that, I mean, you can gain half a second and lose 1 second, you know, trying to overtake, you know, someone which shouldn't be there. It might be that they told him, you know what, you know, keep it safe, you know, get second place. That's a really good placement, you know, and fuck it, you know, you don't want to risk it. So it might have been that. I'm not really sure that it was for lack of trying of Raikkonen. My opinion was, that Raikkonen last weekend was really focused, and he might have got, Rosberg easily. And also, I mean, and then I quit, but I think that Rosberg and Mercedes were worried. There was that radio message, the engineer, telling Rosberg, the gap between him and Raikkonen, and Rosberg telling him, okay, don't tell me every lap, tell me every 4 laps.
Yeah.
So they were worried, which to me it's a good thing. Let's keep them worried, those bastards.
Absolutely, which is why I do think it's when Vettel is up and running properly, he's going to be more of a threat than Raikkonen, because as I say, I would have expected. I mean, I feel that in Vettel, in that same situation, would have just gone, screw it, we're getting first or we're breaking down.
Yeah, I don't know.
5 seconds.
I mean,
to a Mercedes.
I think that Vettel in the same situation would have probably pushed a little bit more, but that's probably just because of the fact that I think that Vettel this year he still thinks. I mean, he really thinks that he's got a shot of the title. He really thinks that, and I agree with him. So, sorry, say what?
I think he thinks that every year. I mean, even when he started in the in the Red Bull a couple of years ago, knowing that it wasn't a great car, he still was pushing as hard as he could to try and maximize the quality.
But I mean, this year I think it's. I mean, you can think you can win the championship, any time, but the fact is that you can't. But I think this year he really has got a chance. So I think that he might have pushed. I mean, a little bit, and at a certain point, I mean, you must not forget. I mean, if you're a team like Ferrari and you lose one car in the warm-up lap, and you're second, you get to a point and say, you know what? I mean, getting second is better than not getting anywhere. I mean, we got to deliver in some way, shape, or form. So I don't know. I think that might have played a little bit in the decision, but I don't know. Well, anyway, so okay, should we talk about someone else? Because I think there was someone else which is, in my opinion, is really worth mentioning. Like, for example, the Haas team. To me, it's mind-boggling. And Gutierrez actually was really unlucky, because it seems to be that a debris, which I think came from Hamilton car, apparently one piece of carbon fiber, whatever, which flew from Hamilton car, hit him, and he bent. It bent like some part of the steering system. He couldn't steer right, which, I mean, it was really unlucky, because it was doing really well, but still, I think they managed to get. I can't remember. Did he got 5th again or stuff like that? Are you there? Oh, you're muted, man.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, they got 5th race, 6th last race, and 5th this race. And again, I would applaud them hugely. A new team in like that.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
That kind of reliability is just awesome, and I think it really does bode well for the future. And it kind of is in some respects now. When I look at the grid, it's a turning point. So I think this is the end of the British team domination, and now we're seeing 3 Ferrari teams potentially. How many German teams? I don't know.
Yeah.
And Williams. McLaren are nowhere. So.
Well, us set the standards pretty high. I mean, that's a team which literally did not exist. It's not like, for example, I mean, Toro Rosso was Minardi, Renault was Lotus. So you got something, but us literally had nothing at all. And for one point, yeah.
I disagree with the nothing, because they were in a better position than some of these older teams, which already had existing contracts.
Well, they started from nothing, you know. That's what I'm saying.
That's the bonus. That's the bonus for them.
Yeah.
They had an extra year because they didn't come in the first year when they were supposed to. So they had an extra year. They made this deal with Ferrari to buy last year's Ferrari, effectively.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, they bought the power unit from Ferrari. The frame is made by Dallara, which is, you know, a fantastic company. It's the same company which builds all basically all the cars for the ISO, you know, series in the US. It's a brilliant factory. And you know, and the frame seems to be, it's really good. You know, I mean, I'm not denying that they had a big, you know, push from Ferrari, but still, you know, I think that it is one thing started from scratch, and another thing, you know, starting from something that you have. Even you know, because of the fact that you know, if you start from something which is not working, at least you know, okay, this is not working, we try to do something else different, you know what I mean? So I think it was a big gamble, but I mean, still, I mean, they're performing better. I mean, Force India this year is shit, okay, and that was, you know, a big car last year, and they're doing fantastic. So I'm really excited for those guys.
Well, again, I think let's not be too hard on Force India. As far as I can see, they haven't really updated their car since the end of since the middle of last year. So,
well, I mean,
you know,
yeah, I mean,
I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised.
Well, okay.
I mean, you know, and you would expect all of the top teams to go this much further forward. I mean, you know, this is the progress you get in the first 3 years of new rules. It is always the big spending teams that end up at the front. And
well,
clearly,
no, okay, yeah,
clearly Haas is a big spending team.
Well, it's a big spending thing, you know, but still, and again, you know, I don't want to, because I think I mean, we understand each other. We're just nitpicking at each other, but it's okay. I mean, what I'm trying, okay, yeah, I mean, okay, let me put it this way, okay. McLaren is a fucking big team. You know, they got the expertise, they got the background, they know how things work, but still, I mean, it's the second year, and us is ahead of them. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that's a good point. That's a very good point, because it's
yeah.
not just ahead; it is miles ahead.
Yeah, I mean, they're there. I mean, okay, one time, okay, sixth place, yeah, but this time it's fifth place, and Gutierrez still. I mean, Gutierrez was in a pretty good position, you know, when he had to go back. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. And another team I'm really excited about that. And I'm sorry, I understand, you know, I'm pushing my side, but you know, you bear with me. It's Manor. Manor is another great team this year. Last year, I mean, last year they were I think in qualifying they got 5 seconds. I mean, this year is 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, that is huge. Yeah.
Yeah, and let me make just a big shout out, you know, about Manor because they got a new engineer. It's this is what I'm saying, you know, I'm pushing my side. I understand that, but it's an Italian engineer. His name is Engineer Furbatto. Is an ex Toro Rosso engineer, but it seems to be that he made a really good job. So yeah, good luck, Manor. I mean,
yeah. I mean,
nice.
I like Manor because they've been so integral in British motorsport over the years. They've really supported it like no other teams have. So, and really developed drivers from British drivers as well. So,
yeah.
You know, they've got a big shout out from me, and if they can do even half as well as any new team this year, then that would be great.
So I've got a question for you, Simos. My question is, you know, when I was watching the race, I was wondering. I mean, don't you think that they should have flagged some of the cars which had loose parts?
Well, yeah. I don't know exactly which ones you're referring to. So,
well, I mean, Hamilton, you know, as you know, made a lot of laps with it seems to be a you know, a piece of the you know, of whatever the fuck it was, yeah, on his right side. Bottas, I mean, was has been driven with alpha wing, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, again, I don't want to, this is why I'm asking, okay, because I don't want to be too much one-sided, but I think they should have flagged those cars. I mean, that's fucking dangerous. I mean,
Well,
Massa almost got killed. I mean, have you seen the what happened to that other fucking brilliant guy? What was it, Van Dorn on the McLaren?
yeah, he was good, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, he almost got killed. I mean, he got a big lump of fucking carbon fiber. I can't remember which car lost it, and he got it on the left tire.
Yeah, Force India, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know because I think there's so much money goes onto the track to stop a car. For I mean, they're usually pretty good about it. Is all I can say.
Yeah.
Normally, if something is loose and it looks like it's going to break, they'll normally call you into the pits.
Yeah.
If something's already broken, right, like the front wing on the Red Bull, right, with just the side end off, and basically it had already gone through several corners or several laps without breaking any further, then yeah, I guess let it go.
No, but no, I mean, I agree with you, but the reason I'm asking the question is that, at the end of the day, those loose parts, which, I mean, I agree that, if me and you, we watch the race, we see a loose part, say, well, they should flag it. I mean, I am confident, that there's some people that they know better than me and you, watching the part, say, okay, this is no danger. But the fact is, that at least 3 cars lost piece of, huge chunks of carbon fiber. One caused, Gutierrez to retire, and the other piece almost, I mean, hit Van Dorn, yeah, in the head. So, I mean, it is not something. I mean, what I'm saying is not too far fetched. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't think it is. It's obviously a big danger, but
Yeah.
then in some respects, that's kind of what they're paid for. And you don't want to see. I mean, if the driver themselves doesn't want to stop, right?
Yeah.
Then I don't know. It seems strange to me if the damaged part survives another lap, then clearly it's going through the full load, right? So all you're talking about is structural integrity, and if there are parts which aren't to do with the structure of whatever piece it is, I don't really see a problem.
Well, okay, I don't want to be a piece of shit, but I also think that, if the loose part, instead of being on Hamilton's car, was, on a Renault or stuff like that, it would have been way easier for them to stop. I mean, stopping Hamilton because it was a loose part, it had to be a big decision.
Yeah,
but it's unfortunate. To me, in my opinion, it's unfortunate that he actually lost the piece. You know what I mean? So I think they should be a little bit more careful with those kind of things. Oh, you're muted, mate.
Yeah, they usually are really good with it.
Yeah.
In that, if it's anything to do with the rear wing, they're gonna pull you in. With front wing damage and side pod damage, if it's side pod damage, normally the car retires within about 3 laps.
Yeah.
Because of overheating.
Well, yeah, no, I agree.
Damage, well, normally the performance drops off so much that they're going to stop anyway. Yeah. So, in some respects, I guess if they're reducing the amount of downforce on the cars, then that's going to happen more and more. And if they reduce the downforce from each part, then the cars are going to not suffer so much when they do get taken.
I agree. I mean,
of course, that looks ugly. It looks ugly that a car's going around with a broken front wing, but if it doesn't affect performance, then
no, I mean, you're right. To be honest, and I understand mine was kind of a dickish question. I was way more worried, by Hamilton piece rather than Bottas piece. I mean, Hamilton piece wasn't the front wing. It was it was something between the front and the rear tire on the left side. It was probably some aerodynamic stuff, and it was clearly stuck behind the car. I don't know how the fuck it was managed to get there. and then eventually it just was shot out. So yeah, I mean, I guess they're going to be thankful that nothing seriously really happened, but still, I think they should be way more careful about that.
Yeah, and I take the point very much that this is a danger issue for other cars, not for the car that's necessarily had the damage. And that's traditionally the way it's been looked at. So it's up to the race organisers or the race officials to flag cars if they feel that something's going to come loose. But I guess if it's just a bit of carbon fibre, I wouldn't be so worried. Obviously, what hit Barrichello was a pretty substantial piece of metal.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think we should think about wrapping it up. A couple of things more I want to say. There is a quote from Raikkonen. I wrote it down because I think it's brilliant. I mean, when Raikkonen speaks, you should listen to the guy. Because, he showed that he can drive, but when he speaks, he's fucking brilliant. And basically said that F1 is so full of politics and other bullshit that it looks absurd, looking from the outside. That's Kimi Raikkonen, and what the fuck can you say to the guy? I mean, the qualification system is still shite. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. I'm glad we didn't talk about that because we talked extensively the first time, and it's still the same piece of shit. I have no idea what they're going to do. The voices that are going to change in China, I have no idea, but still, it's really in my opinion, it's totally ridiculous, and So
yeah, I haven't actually seen a qualifying session yet because I've been so pushed on time and I haven't had time to do everything. But I've been hearing about it, and just when I hear about it, I just go, well, I don't want to see it.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I know exactly what it's like, and they're copying. I don't know. You'll probably jump on this, I hope, but they're copying the bikes from a few years back, aren't they? The GP bikes. Is that right? Because I seem to remember they used to have a system.
Well, no, it is different from the bikes, and there is a substantial difference, which, in my opinion, is what makes the old system even more fucked up. Well, first of all, let me say that this time it was a little bit less shitty than the first race, but still shitty enough to be shitty. But the bikes, they have a system which is quite different. They have a like a pre-qualifying for the lower bikes. But the main problem with the cars is that the countdown starts, and regardless if you've managed to finish the lap or not, you're out. While with the bikes, there is a fixed amount of time, but it is like the old qualifying. I mean, if you start the lap before, the times stops, but you can still manage to finish the lap. But this is what has happened twice to what is the guy on the Red Bull, Viriat. Oh shit, I can't remember for the sake of me. You're muted, but it's the Russian guy.
Daniel Kvyat.
Kvyat, yeah. So yeah, it seems to be a minor detail, but it's substantial,
Yeah, I think it's huge. If it's not sorted out by the time you get to Monaco, then
Oh no! It's gonna be a fucking disgrace. Yeah, and I think we're done.
Well, I'd like to say a couple of things, and I think we should mention the fact that Rosberg has started in such a positive fashion. He's really nailing the starts, and that is just really great to see. So, although I'm a Hamilton supporter, I really want to see Rosberg fly at the beginning of the season. And he's just driving superbly the way he did. Back when he was with BMW, I thought he had a great season there. So I'm really pleased about that. I think
it's way more competitive and it's way more brilliant. I love it.
And then I have to mention Ferrari and say that how pleasing it is that Ferrari's back on par again. And although I can still see Mercedes have got an edge, it's not such a big edge now. The only edge I see is the pre-season testing.
Yeah.
So I'm absolutely confident that by mid-season Ferrari's car will be at least on pace with Mercedes.
I know there's still, at least one person, probably a couple, which waiting for my promise to be delivered, and I'll be more than happy to deliver that. I don't know if you're aware of that. I don't know if you saw the other Hangout, but I promised that that if Vettel is ahead on points, I will make the Hangout basically in my underpants. I have no idea why people want to see that, but still, I just got reminded this week about that.
Yeah, let me just say that this is, of course, a Formula One Hangout, so the number of women watching, I can see right there, we've got number of men watching 0, number of women watching 0.
Yes.
So,
but then we'll catch up, I think. Yeah.
No, I'll look forward to it anyway, Fabio. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, anyway. So, yeah.
Well done, Ferrari. Well done, Rosberg.
Yes.
Well done, Raikkonen.
Yes.
Well done, Hamilton.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Fair enough. That's fair enough, yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much.
Yeah.
And when's the next race? We should mention and advertise the next race.
I have no idea. Okay, you got me. Oh, shit. I don't know.
And on that bombshell, we'll call it a night.
No. Hold on a second. I gotta check it out right now. Oh shit! You're right.
I don't know the time now. I'm just about to hit the
button. Next one is the. Well, it's April the 17th. It's gonna be in China.
10 days.
So yeah.
A weekend.
So eventually Hamilton will, show up dressed as, I don't know, Fu Manchu or some, ridiculous shit like that.
That'll be fun.
It should spend way more time, practicing starting than dressing out like a moron. But yeah. Anyway.
Okay. Thank you so much, Fabio. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I'll see you next time. Take care.